Askreddit thread. What is not a fun fact? There are more Scientologists than pandas. Wow, this one really made me sad. It's worse once you realize how many pandas practice Scientology. The United Nations estimates that roughly 27 million to 30 million individuals are currently caught in the slave trade industry. India, China, Pakistan, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Russia, Thailand, the Congo, Myanmar, Bangladesh lead the way, but slavery exists on a smaller scale in advanced democratic nations. Edit. For anyone who are interested in combating modern slavery and helping the survivors, Rafa House is a charity dedicated to helping people who are pulled from the slave trade by giving them a place to stay and teaching them skills so they can support themselves. Hopefully it's only 27 people. Edited for Smart Alex. 27. Oh, I get it. That whole article is unnerving. Modern slavery can be quite profitable. Let's see, so they estimate about 30 million people caught in the slave trade. Out of how many people in the world, though? That's actually quite a small number. Tiny, what is that, less than 1% of a percent? Probably not. I mean, definitely less than 1%, for sure. But less than 1% of a percent. It's close to that, I guess. But I mean, that's still a lot of people to be in slavery, though. There is one person who is 7 times more likely to kill you compared to everyone else. Yourself. Not if I kill him first. Oh wow, that's a neat fact. 40% of the food produced in the world goes to waste. Don't call your mom that. Operator, hello, 911. Yes, I just witnessed a fucking murder. The first people the Nazis gassed were disabled and mentally ill, not the Jews. They were family members of normal Germans who were at mental hospitals. The families would get a letter that their family members were being transferred. Then about 6 weeks later, they would get another letter saying they had a heart attack or something and died. They got to the point where it became common knowledge that the transfer letter was advance notification that their loved one had been killed. Tests for school children also have questions about how much taking care of the mentally ill costs. It was a way to indoctrinate the youth. And the task is pictured in every history book in Germany. What? The task is pictured. Also, everyone got freed from the concentration camps at the end of the war, except the gay people. They were forced to remain in imprisonment for their crimes. Could you give a source? That sounds fucked up. Homosexual concentration camp prisoners were not acknowledged as victims of Nazi persecution. Reparations and state pensions available to other groups were refused to gay men who were still classified as criminals. The 1935 version of paragraph 1, blah, blah, blah. Holocaust survivors who were homosexuals could be imprisoned for repeat offenses and were kept on the modern list of sex offenders under the Allied military government of Germany. Some homosexuals were forced to serve out their terms of imprisonment, regardless of the time spent in concentration camps. The Allies weren't much better. Alan Turing being a prime example. I didn't know that. Yeah, people like to think the Nazis were only anti-Semitic, but they were anti-anything that can either slow them down or against their views. The outside of your eyes prevents your immune system from ever knowing about the outside of your eye. If a puncture allows the two to meet, your immune system may attack and destroy your eye as an invader. Wow. Terms for the horrified who cling to their skepticism as a shield against acknowledging this unfair fact to Google. Immune privilege of the eye. You're welcome. Interestingly, the testicles share this immune privilege too, as does the placenta and the fetus. This is a basis for another unknown fact. Ebola virus can be transmitted through semen up to 6 months after symptoms cease, if you're lucky enough to survive initial infection. Seniors have the highest rate of suicide at nearly double the teen/young adult ranks. Nobody wants to live with terrible diseases like senioritis. Oh god. Graduating high school is a scary part of anyone's life. This statistic doesn't surprise me. What? Is old fuckers politically correct? High school seniors. Oh, I get it. There is a whale called 52 Blue that only sings at their frequency, meaning it can't communicate with other whales. It is nicknamed the loneliest whale on the planet. Boo. Thinking World War II, we remember Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombs. Bombing of Tokyo Bay was even worse. Oh yeah, I know about that. Where they firebombed Tokyo. The water was so hot it was boiling, so people who jumped into the water to avoid the fire ended up just boiling alive instead. It was pretty gruesome. They even were bombed so hard it created fire tornadoes. They just could not catch a break. Just give it to me straight. Am I oblivious, uncultured ass? I've never heard of the bombing of Tokyo during the war, especially one worse than Hiroshima or Nagasaki. The more paralyzed you are, the more years cut from your life. I was paralyzed at 12. My life expectancy should be 25 years of paralyzed at age 20. Age doesn't go lower in any statistics I've read. Event dependent, you've got 9 years. Should mention I know many people have blown the statistics out of the water. I'm in my 31st year paralyzed at age 43. I do expect to die early though. Wonder why. Creep some of your posts. You seem like you're a awesome, well-adjusted person who was dealt a shit hand. Thanks, lately I've been Debbie Downer though. Have a lot of chronic paralysis complications going on. And had to give up a beloved job in 911 3 years ago this summer. Directionless at the moment. Prion disease are always fatal. Prion. The incubation period can be on the order of years too. Theoretically, you could have something like Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease right now and not know it. Prions are scary. It's insane to think about one rough protein could either enter my body and corrupt my own until I become mentally ill and die, and there is nothing I can do about it. Rogue. It could be any color. More U.S. soldiers die by suicide than by dying in combat. Vehicle assistants surpass this every year. Vehicle accidents surpass this every year. Source: annual suicide prevention briefings. Number 2 source of soldier death is suicide. Is there a list of the top 5 or 10 somewhere? Top 10 soldier deaths gone sexual. Osama hates number 3. I've heard this about motorcycles as well. I can't speak for all of them, but my motorcycle died in a combat. 1 in 7 males will get prostate cancer. 1 in 8 females will get breast cancer, and on average, there's a 2 in 5 chance of you getting cancer. In other words, out of your 10 closest friends, 4 of you guys will likely get cancer. Edit, that's a really vague estimate. Yes, honestly, the odds are just a complete average, not taking in a plethora of other factors that will influence how many of your friends will get cancer, so don't sweat it. Joke's on you, I don't have no friends. That just means that you will get cancer 4 times. Judith Parasi, the little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time, was shot by her father and then set on fire. Her mother met the same fate. I learned this from Reddit. You bastards, so right back at ya. Edit, this has received a lot of upvotes today. I'm honestly feeling guilty about that. It's not the first not fun fact that came to mind, but maybe I should have posted it. This tragedy really caught my attention when I first heard about it a while back in Reddit, and as a father, I was pretty shaken. I spent more time reading about it than I probably should have. Do yourselves a favor, don't dig too much into it. There's nothing but darkness there. Let's just remember Judith, and also keep in mind that tragedies like this are unfolding all over the world every day. Maybe you know someone like Judith or her mother. Maybe you see signs of abuse, or maybe you know someone like her father. As a father myself, I can't imagine the torment in Joseph's mind that would drive him to his actions. But I'll bet every one of us knows somebody who right now is slipping down to the depths of despair due to depression or some other ailment. But be there for help. Help them if you can, today, because for some blah 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 blah. Her gravestone says, yep. Oh shit, you're not even joking. Nope. Aw, that's kind of sad. Don't forget that both that and All Dogs Go to Heaven were released posthumously. Well, duh. How could they film Dogs in Heaven if they weren't dead? Whew. My little nephew's been watching a lot of Land Before Time recently. That just reminded me of that because, you know, the ducky girl. Otters and dolphins like raping things. Holy crap, this is my first time getting my inbox flooded. Go easy, people. The animal code of ethics, or lack thereof, isn't something to get upset over. I'd also like to bring up the whole noble birth family who quite often go through maiden rituals which don't result in rape. Ducks and some others are just the creepy cousins and don't count. So do seals and humans, as do ducks. Many small, adorable furry creatures, guinea pigs, hamsters, etc., will happily eat their own young if stressed. Edit. 1/4 of the replies are jokes, etc. 3/4 are people relating their experience with cannibalistic small animals. I bred hedgehogs and the mama ate one of her babies. He had to go fast. Oh wow. That's gross. You've been deeper inside your mom than your dad has. You've never met my dad. Semen can live inside a vagina for 5 days. Sperm, not semen. Semen is just a more fun word, but it's not technically alive. I am so happy this is my top comment. Blah, blah, blah. There will be a time in the future where my name is spoken for the very last time. You can fit inside a blue whale's penis. But this is a fun fact. If a child is given birth to underwater, it can live the rest of its life underwater. Based on 2 separate studies conducted in 1945, nuclear explosions cure cancers extremely quickly. If you take all the blood vessels out of a man's body and lay it straight on the ground, the man will die. When you see a claim that common drug or vitamin kills cancer cells in a petri dish, keep in mind, so does a handgun. Build a man of fire. Figs are pollinated by wasps. When the eggs inside of the fruit hatches, all of the wasps are female except for one. They all mate with their one brother and leave to go lay eggs and more figs, leaving their brother to die inside the fruit it was born in. What? When the egg inside of the fruit hatches, all of the wasps are female except for one. They all mate with their one brother and leave to go lay their eggs and one more figs, leaving their brother to die inside the fruit it was born in. Okay, but what kind of wasp? Because figs don't grow in a lot of places, but wasps are fucking everywhere. Michael J. Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 1991. Fun fact, Michael J. Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1991. I am at work. The wondrous smell you get while cutting grass is actually a chemical distress signal. You're smelling the silent screams of your lawn. Their tears are delicious. It's a clever defense mechanism. Herbivores eat the grass and it releases a smell. Predators catch a whiff and eventually associate the smell with food. A female born in South Africa has a greater chance of being raped in her lifetime than learning how to read. Really? South Africa? What is this? Threads I'll never see the front page of Reddit, Alex? A Japanese man was wounded by a Hiroshima atomic bomb while on a business trip. Despite his wounds, he returned to his job in Nagasaki where another nuclear bomb dropped. Wow. Dude lived to be 93, and it sounds like he was able to enjoy a normal life. Not that much of a bummer. Damn, 93. Except the whole everyone you know probably dying that day thing. Most laugh tracks were recorded in the 50s. You're hearing dead people laugh. No one in this thread will have sex with Natalie Portman. On the other hand, nobody in this thread had sex with Carrot Top. The existence of brain aneurysms. Death is in an instant with no cause or build-up. 1 minute you're here, healthy as a horse. The next minute, poof. My wife's cousin died of this. He was 22, in great shape, was up a ladder, cleaning windows, and had an aneurysm. He was brain dead before he hit the ground. My neighbor died of this. 41 years old, active guy in great shape. Recently became a grandfather for the first time. He was having dinner with his family of his cottage, asked for a second serving of raspberry pie, then fell dead on the table. Okay, does anybody else want more pie? Wombats have cubic shit. That can't be fun while coming out. What if they have square buttholes? Well, here's what I got. Gross. Toddlers kill more people with guns in America than terrorists kill people in America. Ban all toddlers. Coincidentally, I just heard a story about Jamie Gilt, a pro-gun activist with an FB page. Jamie Gilt for gun sense. Her child just shot her in the back a few days ago. I hope her child won't grow full of guilt. Jamie Gilt, Florida mom, accidentally shot by 4-year-old son. How does a 4-year-old get hold of a gun? The myth that lemmings jump off cliffs is because Disney was making a show in the 50s called White Wilderness. In it, there's a scene where the lemmings jump off a cliff into the Arctic Ocean. Apparently, it was actually filmed in Canada, and the cliff was actually a rotating platform, forcing the lemmings to jump into the water where they presumably died. Apparently, there's also a scene where a baby polar bear falls down a cliff, which was actually filmed in a studio. That adulthood is more defined by paying bills for the things you need/want instead of enjoying the things you need/want. Yeah, life goes something like this. Youth, time and energy, no money. Adulthood, money and energy, no time, retired. Money and time, no energy. No money can apply to all three. 25% of Americans have negative net worth. The universe is probably in a state of what's called false vacuum, and could at any moment decay into a lower vacuum state. A decay event which would spread through the whole universe like a bubble expanding at light speed. And inside the bubble, the laws of physics would be different. How different was only recently discovered. And basically, atomic particles would no longer exist. The physicists who found out included in this paper. The possibility that we are living in a false vacuum has never been a cheering one to contemplate. Vacuum decay is not the ultimate ecological catastrophe. In the new vacuum, there are new constants of nature. After vacuum decay, not only is life as we know it impossible, so is chemistry as we know it. However, one could always draw stoic comfort from the possibility that perhaps in the course of time the new vacuum would sustain, if not life as we know it, at least some structures capable of knowing joy. This possibility has now been eliminated. What? If you are a guy and you don't have a son, you are breaking a direct chain of father to son that goes back thousands of years. Edit, I put thousands so that people don't focus on the year. I didn't want people to focus on humanity 200,000 years or so versus pre-humanity. I didn't want people to focus on creation/non-evolution beliefs versus evolution, blah blah blah. Try millions/billions also. You are only saying something that's been said several times. I hate thinking about this, especially since I am the only son of an only son, and we have a very uncommon last name. Basically, if I don't have a son, then the name/family dies unless my dad decides to have more kids. Problem is, my wife and I don't want kids, so I just have to accept the fact that my life choices are going to erase my line from existence. Do you have a sister? Because my brother all had daughters, and then I, female, luckily got all knocked up. And unwed and birthed a son. So apparently I'm the only one man enough to ensure that our family name continues. Wow, that was hard to read. When 11-year-old Timothy King disappeared during the Orange Country killings, his mother made a plea on television for the killer to release him, and stated she would feed Tommy his favorite meal of Kentucky Fried Chicken when he came home. His body was found later, and postmortems showed the last thing Timmy ate was fried chicken. I think I remember reading about that somewhere. Fun fact, the child serial killer was never caught. Probably Ted Cruz. Wasn't that the Oakland County child killer? There are people who prefer homeopathy over vaccinations, and they have kids. Poor kids. Count to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By the time you're reading this part of my comment, a child under the age of 5 has died. Joke's on you, I skipped to the end. Over your lifetime, you walk past over a dozen murderers. There exists a genius of snakes called the something that can glide through the air by jumping from trees and flattening their bodies. You could be walking along and see one flying right towards your face. Those snakes are actually really cool and totally harmless. It's a fun fact. Wow, that does sound pretty cool.